We really hope you like this video. Just subscribe, like, and click the bell to be notified of more content just like this. John Richardson, Charlie McCann are here again. Rico's just touching his hair. Is that the sort of autumn plumage? Is it that kind of the Dickie Davis kind of look?
Hey, at least still here. It's still here. Still here.
Yeah, it's hanging in there. Hey, never change your winning formula, mate. Never change your winning formula.
I don't know about that. You all right?
Yeah, good. How are you, Charlie?
Yeah, good form. Thanks, mate. Yeah, good form. Looking forward, of course, to the big game of the weekend at St James.
There's only one game this weekend, isn't there? There's only one game that matters as far as we're concerned.
Yes.
We might as well start off talking about how do you fancy your boys after last weekend?
No, but I didn't fancy them against Southampton. So I fancied them against Newcastle. I think Evan have got a decent record at St James's Park. But I think Digne will be a miss. I thought that Everton were found out somewhat at St Mary's. I've been banging on all season that you can't. When one stage we had both Gylfi and Bernard, I just thought it was like Nurse Theo probably watching the game in the stands, not knowing who to support. I think that's almost as good as Everton are as well. I'm afraid, and if it will take a poor Newcastle side not to get a positive result, whether that's a draw or a win on Sunday. As we mentioned last week, I want Nkuku to start. I think Everton should play three central defenders. I think Godfrey is not a right back. We knew that. He played well against Sadio Mane. Of course he did. Mane was more effective when he went in and replaced Fabinho in the derby. I think he's got the strength but he's not a fullback, and we now know that. The quicker we integrate Ben Godfrey into central defence, whether that's a 4-4-2, 3-5-2, or whatever, with a 3-4-3 or whatever, but we've got to get Godfrey into the central defence. But no, I think Newcastle will. I've just written about it and thought the recommendation is just over 6-4 for Newcastle. Draw no bet. So if it's a draw, you get your money back. If Everton win, you lose. But if Newcastle win, it's well over. 37-20 was the biggest price.
Rico, what's your take on it? I watched the game against Wolves, which Newcastle ended up getting a point. I think it was Kieran Dyer said Newcastle are boring. Do you agree with him?
Absolutely. I mean, I was delighted with a point, but it was shocking. Football is supposed to be some sort of entertainment. I know it's a results business as well, but I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed when you look back at some of the Newcastle sides of the past. And I remember one of my favourite all-time games was against Everton, the Alan Shearer volley, and then Craig Bellamy right at the end.
Yeah,
turned 1-0 into 2-1. I mean, that was excitement, and that was what Newcastle were all about. They're not about dredging out points like this. People will say, well, they haven't got the tools, they haven't got the players. And to an extent, that is right. I mean, if Alan Saint-Maximin doesn't play well, then Newcastle fire. Miguel Almiron, a little bit the same as well. They are so functional. And I've just been reading the local paper, the Newcastle Evening Chronicle, and I don't think Steve Bruce will like this, but they've got a survey now. How is he doing? With all different questions, which is a bit naughty. I know that the press have got to do their job, but I think I know what the results will be, because he's not popular, Brucey. They think he's too negative. And this will be very interesting, because already the prophets of doom are saying we're going to have 5 at the back against Everton at home, etc., etc. The only saving grace about that, of course, there's no fans to actually be there, but people are watching it on the TV. And Newcastle have got to have a go. They've got to have a go. If they go on the front foot with Saint-Maximin, Almiron, Callum Wilson, they've got a chance. But if they sit back, then Everton will just pick them off. And that's the annoying thing about it. I think Newcastle have got a little bit more potential than they are actually showing. But as usual, I'll be watching this behind the couch.
To be fair to Brucey, I mean, he could rightly turn around. When he took the job, nobody gave him a cat and owl's chance of doing anything. I mean, at what point, Charlie, is it? It's that fine line between we have to stay in the Premier League and we want to be an entertaining side. If Sam Allardyce was sitting here now, he'd just go, it's all about results.
Yeah, it is. But as you say, the barometer for this, I think, is if you can get away with that while behind closed doors. Can you imagine if Newcastle lined up? Okay, Everton won't be top of the league at the time of kickoff, but at the time of writing, should we say, Everton go into the weekend at the top of the league. But I mean, Newcastle have got to. This is Newcastle United. There's 50-odd thousand people should be there cheering him on. Sucking the ball into the back of the net. They shouldn't be playing 5 at the back against Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Bernard. Rodriguez, they nullified him at source, and they did that very well. And I think that might be the blueprint, because James was, whether he was 100% fit or not is open to debate. But Southampton, I thought, sort of stopped Everton at source. But without Richardson, Dominic Calvert-Lewin there's one of his hands tied behind his back as well. And we just aren't, A, as good as people thought we were, and B, certainly not without Luca Dean and Richardson.
Can I just ask you, Charlie, you say Ben Godfrey at right back. I felt so sorry for him because I think there's something that I've been thinking about for a while. Is James is wonderful, but he ain't going to help you, is he? If he's nominally on that right-hand side, so you've got a young centre-half who's playing out of position and has got no help. And I thought Southampton exploited that perfectly. Didn't
they? But you knew that before the game. I knew that before the game. John knew that before the game. And certainly Southampton and the Southampton coaching staff and players knew that. So that was sort of disappointing, I must say. But if John Joe Kenny's not fit, and he did well in the derby, then, and Seamus Coleman, of course, and the captain's not fit. But I think we all thought that when James was starting there, that he's not going to be an asset. But, I also wasn't particularly impressed with, Alan and to a lesser extent. Alan has had 2 ordinary games now after started very well. Okay, he's got back into the French squad because of Fabinho's injury. But no, he's not. I think the jury is now out on him. Doucouré got up and down, yet Doucouré was the one who got substituted as well, which I thought was, I think was open to debate. But I'm looking forward to the game, especially as John's saying, Newcastle are thinking they're playing, Liverpool, and they're going to go back on the back foot, because Everton will thrive on that and think, wow, these guys are going to, they're going to give us the ball. They're going to sit back. No, Newcastle shouldn't do that to Everton. Newcastle should press and be right on the front foot. This is an Everton side without 2 arguably their best players who got their bottom smacked at Southampton last weekend. They've got to go on the front foot.
I've got a quiz question for 2.
Yeah, go on.
How many games has Andy Carroll gone in the Premier League without a goal?
Oh, I couldn't tell you that one.
Charlie?
Oh, I can remember great volleys. Did he not, when you started early in the season, when he didn't score then, when he looked at, for about 4 minutes, he looked unplayable.
Oh, didn't he?
Have you give up?
Yeah, go on.
38 Premier League games.
Right. Most of them as substitute, you would say, but...
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I'm doing a piece off for Sunday, and I've got the stats in front of me. His last goal was for West Ham.
Yeah.
On April the 16th, 2018.
So, I like your black and white specs, by the way.
Yeah.
Charlie got blue and white. An incredible stat. It's an incredible stat, though, isn't it, for an ex-England striker? 38 Premier League goals, Premier League games without a goal. And they still love him. They still love him. He's still a cult hero.
What will that survey, like the last one on the game? What will that survey in the Chronicle say, Rico, at the end of it?
I think we all know, don't we? I think Brucey will be devastated by it. There is a sort of a growing protest against him, which is very unfair, because who else could have done any better?
Yes.
But he came in with this sort of, what have we got Steve Bruce for? And also, don't forget, he did manage Sunderland, which was a cardinal sin. He's been on a hide into nothing. I think he's done a very good job, but I do want him to be more positive. I think that the negativity is strangling him at the moment, as far as the fans are concerned.
Yeah. They're saying that Kane and Son are arguably the most, certainly prolific, but the best strike partnership that the Premier League has seen. I'm racking my brains because I always go back to partnership. Partnerships seem to have gone out of fashion. I'm not sure they are your Toshak and Keegan kind of partnership, but they certainly enjoy playing together, don't they?
I think Sutton and Shearer weren't too bad, were they?
That's a great shout. Yeah, that's a great shout.
That was a partnership. Man United had a few. Teddy Sheringham, Andy Cole
and York.
Cole and York. Yeah, well, they had 4 of them, didn't they? So I do think we get carried away, don't we? I mean, I'm responsible for it. I'm part of the media. We hype up everything. Yeah, hey, they are a superb partnership. And I must admit, I never saw this in Harry Kane, in years gone by. I think he's become a complete all-round player. I remember him struggling, during loan spells at different clubs. And I thought, don't think this guy's got it. Why are Tottenham persevering? Hold my hands up. He's been superb. And what a great bloke as well. He's a really nice bloke. He's great to deal with. I'm absolutely delighted for him. Couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. And Son plays with a smile on his face. It's great. I mean, we talked about Tottenham, haven't we, in the last few weeks, and they are good to watch. Not that they were last night. They are good to watch. They're great going forward. I'm a bit worried about Gareth Bale. I think he's taken time to come to the boil. But if he does, then that's decent, isn't it? But yeah, in answer to your question, Rob, yes, they are very good. Are they the best? I think that's taking it a bit too far.
Better to be lucky than good in any walk of life, and then Spurs were lucky at Turf Moor on Monday evening for the outplayed by a workman-like Burnley, and Burnley must have felt gutted to go out. Again, when people on the television are saying that was Harry Kane headed it and something.
I'm with you. No, did he? He just flicked it on, didn't he?
Just flicked it on. Christ, and it's one of the. But again, Tottenham are into 7-1 third favourites for the Premier League, and of course they had been on a fabulous run, in the amount of games they've had. But it won't be a significant defeat at Antwerp. But it was interesting, Mourinho's reaction at half-time to get Dele and the box of toys off. It shows he was not impressed whatsoever. Was it 3 or 4 substitutions after time?
4.
I thought it was 4. Yeah. And Kane came on after, for Bale, whatever. It's fair to say he was, he wasn't particularly, impressed and looking forward to Brighton on Sunday night. He wanted, to put this qualification, to bed in the Europa League. But 7-1. They were 70-1. When they got beat by Everton on the first opening day of the season, they were 70-1. They went out to, and they're now 7-1 third favourites. That's because, of course, Liverpool, have had a defeat to Everton, and of course, more significantly, the loss of Virgil van Dijk. And Man City again just still look a bit sort of fragile. Great win in Marseille midweek, but in the Premier League again, they just don't look, And is this? I've said all along, it's 1 horse race, let alone a 2 horse race. I thought Liverpool would win, but could this be another Leicester? I know not a Leicester, not a 500-1, but could we see? I don't know. I was absolutely adamant, and then when you see Spurs get that result, you just think, well, as I've said all along, it is better to be lucky than good in any walk of life. And whether Mourinho, he couldn't, could he?
To be honest with you, he'll never have a better chance the way the season's going. And I mean, the way the football, I mean, for a fan, it's fantastic watching. Obviously, not at the grounds, but you know, there's massive Champions League. There's Europa League next week for these teams. There's so many injuries. Rico, can I just ask you? I know you're up in sort of the northwest. What's happening at Burnley? Is this going to happen? This takeover?
Well, the Americans aren't out of it either. You know, it was said the other day that this Middle East, whatever they are, was past the post. It's not. You know, the Americans are still in there. Something's going to happen because Burnley are desperate for money, like most Premier League clubs at the moment. You know, Mike Garlick, the chairman, has said, "I can't take this club any further." There's been problems in the summer, as you both know, with between him and Sean Dyche. You know, the money hasn't. Well, there has been a bit of money there, but not enough. And I hate to say it, but you know, I'm a great fan of Sean Dyche, but I thought they would struggle this season because, you know, they hadn't replaced players, they hadn't built on last season, and it's always going to be a struggle. So I think a takeover will be a godsend for Burnley, whoever it is in the end. And both parties have said that Sean Dyche's future is secure. Well, don't forget, he was at Watford when the Potties, or whatever you want to call them, Potsies, is it? Well, the Potties came in and he lost his job within a few weeks. I don't think that will happen this time, but it will be good for Burnley for the takeover, and I think it will be good initially for Sean Dyche.
Just dwelling on the point we were talking to with Charlie about. I mean, Harry Redknapp said Spurs can. I said Spurs can win the league. Tim Sherwood said at the weekend Spurs can win the league. But I mean, it looks as open as it can possibly be, which is great, in fairness.
Yeah, Charlie was spot on. Agree with what he said. I think this is the chance for somebody to come left field, and Tottenham have got the opportunity. And you never write off Jose Mourinho, do you? I did think at first, again, hold my hands up, I thought he was making a right mess of it. I didn't think it was the right club for him. Slowly but surely he's getting there, although to brass off 4 of your players, you know, at half-time against Antwerp, I don't think is the best tactics. Certainly, it's not the ideal way to get the best of Dele Alli. I think Dele Alli needs an arm round him as this. But yeah, all of us about the going forward offensively, that they're superb. I agree with Charlie, what he said in the last few weeks about the midfield. What is the real midfield? Hugo Lloris worries me a little bit. I don't think he's the goalkeeper of a few years ago. But yeah, it is so open, and there's never been a better chance. And, you know, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Right, when we've got VAR, when VAR first came in, I must admit, the one thing I hoped it would do, and it hasn't, it's the one thing it hasn't done, is, you know, the wrestling in the box from a corner where, like, you know, you're a big basketball man, you know, the obstruction when you're just holding somebody, not even looking at the ball. How is Harry Maguire? I mean, that, never mind millimetre offsides and this, that's exactly what VAR was for, wasn't it? He's got, it was Azpilicueta, wasn't it, round the throat? I mean, Charlie, what?
And VAR took about 4 seconds. VAR took about, you know, that the decision was made so abruptly as well. Whereas, you know, I had that decision been made abruptly, stop the game, it's a penalty down the other end, fine. Or you go to your monitor, because we really do feel you need to have another look at this. Because you...
What's going on? What's not? You sit there, Rico sits there, I sit there. I mean, there's all kinds. I mean, in midweek, the Champions League, you can't watch the game because you know there's going to be a VAR. The players now score a goal and straight away. But that was surely what VAR, not even goalies coming off the line of penalties. That was what VAR was originally there to do, wasn't it?
Oh, well, it was. I mean, it was an embarrassment. That really was not good enough. It really was not good enough, and you don't know where. You'd love to say that there's light at the end of the tunnel. There doesn't seem to be. There doesn't seem to be sort of any consistency. Luca Digne's, you know, I suppose you could say.
About Luca Digne, just briefly, did you think it was a red card, Luca Digne's?
I think it's one of those things. In slow motion, no. In slow motion, yes. But at the time, I thought he's got to run, and it's I obviously with what happened to Everton, I thought Everton were quite fortunate to only get one, to have it rescinded down from 3 to 1. So I could see where they're coming from, and yet it wasn't. He maybe should have made and taken a booking on the halfway line. But that I don't think Everton could complain with it being down to one game at all. No complaints there whatsoever.
Rico, I can't. Ollie must be on a roller coaster. One day he's getting the sack, and the next day they're the greatest team in the league. I mean, the poor fella, how he keeps his equilibrium, I've got no idea.
Hasn't that always been Man United? Even in the Fergie days early on, some of us old enough to remember that. Ferguson out after the 2 or 3 years. I mean, that is the nature of the beast. It's Manchester United, arguably one of the biggest clubs in the world. The media focuses on there week in, week out. We're now in the age of social media where, you can't escape anything. You're either getting MBEs or knighthoods or you're getting sacked. There's no in between. And that's sad, really, because, there are grey areas. Although I live in a world of newspapers where sports editors don't like grey areas. They want it black or white. They're either being sacked or they're the best thing sliced bread. That's the world we live in, and that's the world Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in. But to be fair to him, I think he handles it quite well.
I do.
I think he does know what's going on. He says things with a smile. He's told 1 or 2 fibs, mine, in the last few weeks, but we won't go into that. But he knows what is. And also, let's be fair, if these managers get sacked, they go away with millions of pounds. So you can't feel too sorry for them, can you? But no, I think he's riding the roller coaster very well, Rob.
Do you think there's potential in his team? Do you like his team at the moment?
It's a bit of a Tottenham conundrum. He's got to get the right midfield. And also, he's got that, dare I mention his name, Paul Pogba. He's still hanging around. I mean, does he want to be a footballer? I don't know. I think personally, Man United would be a lot better without Pogba. But Fernandes seems the real deal. Obviously, the front lads, Rashford's on fire. Yeah, like Tottenham, in many senses, they've got a chance. But they are weak, again, like Tottenham at the back. So it's a great roller coaster of football, isn't it? We don't know who's going to win the league. Well, we couldn't put our mortgage on it, which is what football's all about.
It's all you. Go on, Charlie. Sorry.
Just following on from John's point there. How would you bet? Who would you be in this extraordinary year? Your sports personality of the year for 2020. There is going to be one. I am very, very keen on one.
I've got mine.
Talking about Marcus Rashford, whether he should be included it for the unbelievable. Let's get it right. For the unbelievable role he's played in free school.
Rashford is 7 to 4. He should be 1 to 7,000. He has been absolutely sensible, as well as and it has helped that he won a big Paris Saint-Germain and Leipzig.
Hat-trick the week, yeah,
a hat-trick during the week. But just for when I see, I'm sorry to bring it up, Lewis Hamilton favourite. Lewis is in a 2-horse race every week with somebody who is palpably not good enough. And Valtteri Bottas is there's only 2 of them can possibly win any week. If he had Verstappen in the other car, that's different, but he hasn't. And so this is obscene, really. Of course, he's a great driver. He's a record-breaking season, but it's not fair. I think as a sports personality, what Rashford has done this year has just been sensational.
Yeah, I did smile that apparently there's a salary cap coming in the F1 where Lewis won't be able to earn 40 million. He'll be capped at 22.
Oh, God love him.
I did sort of smile when I saw that. Now, listen, what he's done is unbelievable. But I think when you've got a Liverpool manager saying this guy's incredible, Marcus Rashford, I know what Rico's your take. You should keep it away from sport, or keep it to sport.
Does it mean that Mother Teresa might win it one year?
Bar
If he scores a hat-trick against Red Bull Leipzig, yeah.
I'm sorry. I think it sets a dangerous precedent. I don't like it. Marcus Rashford, fantastic. Give him other awards. You know.
Let's give it to Lewis then.
He should have the Helen Rollison Award. You know, which goes to sort of it looks after charities and things like that. I think you've got to judge people on what they're actually doing as a sportsman. He's done fantastic, but he's not the sportsman of the year. For me,
sports personality of the year.
Not
sportsman of the year.
Sorry, Charlie. Yeah, sports personality. Yeah, he is a personality, but I'm just uncomfortable. I like it to just be about what's mainly on the field and how he deals with people off it. Fair enough, but I just think it sets a dangerous precedent. Sorry.
No. I appreciate that. One other thing I wanted to say, Rob, is if possible, Unai Emery had a much better record than Mikel Arteta after so many games. Why is Arteta not under scrutiny? Why is he a media darling when he's, after 26 league games, Unai Emery, I think, had won, certainly 2 or 3 more league games. It is just an interesting one. And one other thing, if this were America, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang signed a lucrative new contract. Since that date, he hasn't scored a goal for Arsenal and has now 5 league games without a goal. Is there a possibility that, having got his contract and he's very, and I believe he's moved into a mansion, that there is the possibility that he's, there is a thing in American sport, they say, once you play for a contract, get your contract, and relax. Is there a possibility of that?
Rico, what do you think?
Very good. Very, very good. On the Mikel Arteta one, I can easily answer that one. I think that the jury's still out as far as I'm concerned, Arteta. But Unai Emery was looked upon as a sort of a bit of a joke figure. His English was poor. He was very hard to communicate with the media. They found it hard. So they had a sort of a black mark against him, if you like. Mikel Arteta is media friendly. He comes from serving under Pope Pep, so he comes in and he's sort of godlike. And so that's the answer to that one. On the other one, yeah, I can see that. Although people who know him said he's a hard worker. He's desperate to play well for the team. But yeah, there can be some of that. It does annoy me sometimes where contracts are easily gained. He's on good money anyway. And we got the Mesut Ozil thing, haven't we, where he's not even playing 350,000 a week. So he's definitely in his American mansion, if you like, with Charlie's ideology. There we go. So that's why Arteta is a media darling.
So you said yourself that it is black and white as far as newspapers are concerned, but Manchester United Arsenal, even at this stage of the season, is one hell of a game, isn't it?
We said the same thing about Man United Chelsea last week, and it would have been a game if he penalty early doors. That changes everything.
Yes, it does.
Changes everything, an early goal in a game like that. But and then what? Chelsea have they now kept 3 consecutive clean sheets as well?
Yeah, and scored what, 4 in the week?
So why aren't we discussing them as the Tottenhams or the Arsenal or the Man United in threat to? But I think that is a fascinating game. Fascinating. I just thought Man United would nick it. I must say, I was disappointed with Arsenal against Leicester. I must say, I thought Leicester were there for the taking. And they hadn't won there since 1973, and Jamie Vardy on the bench looks a fantastic piece of, but if he's coming on the bench when they're 3-0 down or 2-0 down, I thought that was a strange team selection. But Arsenal disappointed United. I think they'll win. But the nap, John, would you believe my nap of the weekend is Newcastle? But they've got
Never. Can't believe it. Have you been?
Can both teams lose on the day? You two.
Well, I've got draw no bet is what I put. Newcastle draw no bet at 37-20. I just think everyone got carried away, including you two, with their form.
You know, there's Mr. Bar Humbug himself, Rico, now Marcus Rashford, sports personality. And there's Charlie. Oh, Everton are going to lose. Listen, where are you, Rico, this weekend?
I'm at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United versus Man City.
Yeah, good one.
12:30.
Yeah, good. Nice one. Listen,
I'm looking forward to it because I think it's a big test this for City.
Yes, I do, John.
As Charlie said earlier, they played very well at Marseille, but this is the bread and butter, as they say. So we'll see.
a soggy chip butty. Rico, thanks a lot. Charlie, thanks a lot as well.
Hey guys.
Cheers. All again next week. Have a great weekend. See ya.
And yourselves. Have a lovely weekend, lads.
Bye.
Cheers, fella.
Thank you.